What's up, wonderful family? Welcome to the Future for Corresponding Show on the Black Hotfire Network. My name is Spikes, and we're looking forward to yet another interesting episode where we get to connect and interact and learn a little bit about, the beautiful continent of Africa. And of course, this is the Black Hotfire Network. I always keep on urging us to visit the website. It's www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And once you are on the website, you can create your own personal profile. And you can also be able to interact with the rest of the Black Hotfire family. Our goal with this particular network is really to unite our people, wherever they might be, as an African people, as a Black people globally. We want to just come together and unite, and of course, have a collective African consciousness, which is lacking. And of course, after that, we can be able to get back to a place of global prominence. And of course, we share information that is timely. We also purpose to share information that is reliable, information that you can also act on, whether be it in economic matters, political matters, social matters, and all other spheres of a conversation that we get to delve into right here on the Black Hotfire Network. Remember, we are also live and interactive on different social media platforms. You can find us on Twitter, Black Hotfire. You can also find us on Facebook, Black Hotfire Network Radio Station. In fact, we are now streaming direct on our Facebook as well as on YouTube, Black Hotfire Africa. And of course, we are streaming on the smaller channel since we have hit, challenge with the striking of our channel. You might not be able to find us on this particular smaller one, but nonetheless, we keep it going. And we do trust that you get to learn a thing or two. And I also want to ask you to keep it interactive. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the show. We delight for your company and joining us on the show. We never take your company for granted. And like I said, if at all you would ever like to get a hold of me on our different social media platforms, you can also find me. And you can also shoot me an email, blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com, blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. I would love to get your comments, your suggestions, your questions regarding some of the matters that we do tackle right here on the 54 correspondents show. It's all about the 54 countries. That is why we dub it the 54 correspondents. But I happen to realize recently that there are so many other places that want to emancipate themselves and be autonomous on the continent of Africa. So perhaps later on we might hear, of us changing it to 55 correspondents. But nonetheless, for the minute, we are keeping it 54. And of course, we are one people, regardless of whether you're tuning from Nigeria, whether you're tuning from Somalia, whether you're tuning from Eritrea, or whether you are even tuning in from Kenya, or even perhaps a place like Mauritania or Seychelles, or even Madagascar. We are still one people. And of course, that is what we pride in, being one African people. And of course, facing similar challenges, even if you leave Nairobi and go to a place like Durban, you shall still find our people witnessing the same challenges. Most of the time it's normally with corruption. Some other time it's normally with health issues. Some other time it's normally with a lack of education. Some other time it's normally with poor leadership. And of course, poor leadership has been one of the biggest challenges on the African continent. The lack of proper leadership. You do find that if perhaps the nations were able to find proper leadership, then at the end of the day, we would start to see nations rising up, from poverty, rising up from ignorance and lack of proper education, rising up from all these different challenges of even hunger. Places like Botswana, Namibia, if we did have proper leadership, even though these particular areas are properly, these particular areas are, very, very dry, semi-arid and semi-arid. If we did have proper leadership, then perhaps, and even proper education, then perhaps all these particular countries would actually be able to rise up to their greatest potential. We also realize that the African continent is endowed with lots and lots of resources. And of course, our focus for today will be in Tanzania. We shall be telling you what's good with Tanzania. Personally, I have been to Tanzania once, and I hope to, get back to Tanzania later this year in April. And I also want to welcome you, on the tour. We do have the Black Hot Fair Network tour to Tanzania. And there are so many places that spark my interest on the continent of Africa. And of course, these places include even Egypt. I've never been to Egypt myself, but I purpose one day to embark on a journey or on a tour and visit this particular place of the great civilization of, the ancient Kemet. And of course, not just Egypt. I also would love to go to West Africa, places like Mali, Timbuktu. I would love to go see what's good with that particular place. But for now, I just want to welcome you to our tour to Tanzania. We shall be visiting Dar es Salaam, which is the largest city. We shall also be visiting Zanzibar in Tanzania. Some years back, we did have these regions being like, two separate regions. We did have Tanganyika, or German Tanganyika, because there was a takeover of Tanganyika by the Germans, and that was a German protectorate or a German colony, if I might call it what it is. And then we did have Zanzibar. Zanzibar is the island, and of course these two particular regions did join to become Tanzania. Tanganyika and Zanzibar co-joined to make the name Tanzania, and it's actually a beautiful, beautiful place. We do share a lot of common things with East African, other East African counterparts. For example, Uganda, you will find some communities in Uganda being the same communities even in Tanzania. You will find Kenyan communities in Tanzania, because before the 1884 Berlin Conference, which divided Africa like a small pie, we did have people moving across. We didn't have Kenya, we didn't have Tanzania, we didn't have Uganda. These were just similar kingdoms, of course, run by different authorities. But at the end of the day, we were just one people. That is why you'll find the Maasai in Kenya, the Maasai in Tanzania. You'll find the Luo in Kenya, the Luo in Uganda. It's still the same big communities, but now, divided by these lines. Today's focus, like I said, will be, towards Tanzania. And Tanzania has contributed greatly towards archaeological discoveries and archaeological studies, and being able to understand the history of or the history of mankind, or the history of humankind. And of course, there were so many people that have had a different conversation about, how old is the Earth? That is one thing. How old is the Earth? And of course, another question that pops up in the minds of people is how long has humanity been in existence on the face of the Earth? How long has humanity been in existence on the face of the Earth? Some people have gone by different books. Some other people have gone by different researches. But of course, Tanzania gives us a different light, to be able to understand all these things. And I'll share with us briefly some of the videos of the archaeological findings in Tanzania. And I hope you shall also find this particular topic indulging. And you can also share with us your question or your feedback regarding some of the matters that you want to discuss right here on this particular show. I want to share with us some of the fossilized footprints. There have been some footprints that were discovered in Tanzania. And I will be telling you some of the most popular places where the discoveries have been made so that you can also get to acquaint yourself with where to look. If at all you are a student, or if at all you are a scholar or a researcher who would like to pursue the matter of archaeology, and perhaps you think that Tanzania would be your favorite spot, I think I would also lead you in the right way when it comes to some of the places and you might decide to go visit and see what's good. Apart from the museums, because of course some of the items have been taken to museums, you can find them there. But I'm talking about the work on the ground and where some of these fossils have been found, including the footsteps, they are labeled as the giant footsteps in Tanzania. And someone was asking, were there ever an existence of giants in Tanzania? But nonetheless, we would let this particular video share a little bit more light on the same. This is a 54 corresponding show. And like I said, my name is Spikes. You can get a hold of us on social media, Black Hot Fire Network on Instagram, Black Hot Fire Network on Twitter, and also Black Hot Fire Network on Facebook. This is it. Let me share briefly about this particular discovery in Tanzania.
Prehistoric footprints found in a village in northern Tanzania are providing rare snapshots of early humans' everyday lives. One of the researchers involved reported via The Conversation that there are roughly 400 of them dating between 6,000 and 19,000 years ago, and the team was able to break them down into travel groups. According to Science News, among them was a set that suggests 14 females and 3 males were traveling together, with the woman perhaps collecting food and the others keeping them company, which could indicate gender-based divisions of community tasks. The Conversation piece adds, while we don't know what the community of people who made these prints was specifically like, we know that hominins in Africa at this time were engaging in complex behaviors, and that they were members of our own species, Homo sapiens.
I totally personally do not get to follow this particular evolution theory. I'm not a proponent. I do actually also oppose the matter of evolution. But nonetheless, I do believe there was the existence of human beings 19,000 years ago. And of course, I'm talking about the area of Tanzania. There are so many interesting places, and I'll share with us one of the areas which is known as the Olduvai Gorge. It's called the Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania. And let me share the brief image of the Olduvai Gorge and what you can expect to know from this particular area known as the Olduvai Gorge. It's actually in northern Tanzania, and this particular area is a place where so many discoveries have been made, and we shall be discussing almost most of these particular discoveries. Let me share with you the image so that you can see the place that we are talking about. There has also been the suggestion that organized living began around Lake Turkana. And now, of course, Lake Turkana is someplace inside Kenya. It's actually close to northern Kenya. But nonetheless, I will not be mentioning about northern Kenya for today, but it's also an area of interest. Northern Kenya, a place known as Lake Turkana. You will also find a lot of archaeological discoveries found in this particular region. So this is a star, the red star that you see on the map right here. This is the World Heritage Site, and it's known as the Olduvai Gorge. And right now it has been changed. The name is Olduvai by the Tanzanians, but nonetheless, this is a place that we are talking about, very, very close to Kenya. And that is why I'm saying, if you go back into real history, you will also find that, organized living, or living really as we know it, and the existence perhaps of humanity, perhaps the earliest human being, if we are to talk about the earliest human beings, because we all know that we are off this particular planet, and we also know that humanity and the existence of our life is not only found on Earth, I do believe it's also found elsewhere. We all know about the galaxy and the universe. It's not just Earth that perhaps could hold life. The galaxy, and the galaxy is infinite, and therefore you would be ignorant really to think that you only have humanity existing or life existing only on Earth, which of course would be limited thinking. But nonetheless, this is Olduvai Gorge, and I believe perhaps the earliest human beings, or the existence of humanity perhaps would have begun somewhere around Kenya or Tanzania or the Democratic Republic of Congo. These are the 3 places I believe, as we speak today, where we would have, the earliest human beings, actually existing. And like I said, I'm also sort of drawn to the fact that in Lake Turkana, we did have also, the bones of a human being that was existing even, before 2 million years ago, which actually says, we have been here for so long. And of course, I'm not of the idea of evolution. I'm not a strong believer of evolution or Charles Darwin's theory. I believe most of us have come across a particular one, and even in schools in history, some proponents of the same idea have actually pushed for the idea that people did actually evolve gradually to become what we are right now. But nonetheless, I want to share with us these particular remains of a 2,000-year-old city discovered off Tanzania's coast. And of course, this is also another discovery of course, of a great magnitude. Of course, coming all the way from Tanzania as well. Let me share this briefly, and then we shall keep the conversation going regarding, some of the places that are of interest, and what are some of your beliefs about the existence of human beings and the origin. This is a place, probable remnants of a 2,000-old year city discovered off Tanzania's coast.
He realizes he may just have stumbled across the remains of a long-lost Chester rocks. He knows there is something different about this reef. That's because it's not a reef at all. He realizes he may just have stumbled across the remains of a long-lost city, and he is swimming around its 4-kilometer wall. Academics believe this may be what's left of the near 2,000-year-old city of Rapta, the southernmost city of the ancient world, off the coast of modern Tanzania. And after a lifetime of looking for underwater discoveries, Alan Sutton swam into it on his birthday.
Yeah, it was quite a special moment because it's a very, very large site, and I wasn't expecting to find anything that big. So to actually get to it, see it, and then look around and realize the scale of the place, it was quite jaw-dropping.
He found it after spotting this from a helicopter and decided to work out what it was. But he didn't realize his luck. The remains have laid underwater for centuries and are only exposed on particularly low spring tides. Since then, a professor from Dar es Salaam University has been to the site and says it could change our understanding of history.
That area is like really bigger than the center of modern Dar es Salaam. Sincerely, it is a very big significance, a major significance. Just imagine, this was the southernmost city of the ancient time. Now, this is very important for the history of humanity, for the history of Tanzania and Africa.
Sutton and Professor Chami will now campaign to make it a World Heritage Site. Sutton says he has spent his life searching for the tiniest pieces of pottery, so to swim into the streets of a lost city was quite some birthday present. And Ashby.
And now, of course, that's some discovery of Tanzania's coast. And what you get to discover is that it has been labeled as a southernmost city, the Asian city. And of course, there are some people who go about, looking for, the underwater or the underwater city of Atlantis. I believe even movies have been made in Hollywood, pushing that particular kind of a notion that there have been the lost city of Atlantis, where people, there is a lot of wealth to be found, gold and all these other things. I wouldn't be surprised if at all there was some remains of, some of the items that were used in this particular city being found around this particular place in Tanzania. But nonetheless, I'm telling us that Tanzania has contributed greatly to how we understand also the existence of humanity, and not just the existence of humanity, but also civilization. And that is why I also want to highlight on what has been discovered lately. There have been a new discovery also, taking us way back to Tanzania again. And like you say, Tanzania has a lot of good things in store for archaeologists. And as it is, just recently, there has been a published article on the discovery. And this is talking about 2-million-year-old stone tools unearthed in Tanzania. And of course, an international team of archaeologists and paleoanthropologists has discovered a large collection of 2-million-year-old stone tools, fossilized bones, and plant materials at the site of Ewas or Dupa in the western portion of the Asian basin of the Olduvai Gorge. I talked about the Olduvai Gorge a little bit earlier in northern Tanzania, very, very close to Kenya. The discovery reveals that the earliest Olduvai humans used diverse, rapidly changing environments that range from fern meadows to woodland, mosaics, naturally burned landscapes to lakeside woodland, palm groves, as well as teepees. If you look at this particular area where there is a site over the Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, of course, the new discovery shows that they belong to, the oldest known stone tool industry, the oldest known stone tool industry. And they're dating as far back as 2.6 million years ago. The old one tools are likely manufactured, and of course, are a major milestone in human evolutionary history. And the researchers say our research sheds further light on our distant origins and evolutionary history, according to the co-author, Professor Tristan Carter, a researcher in the Department of Anthropology at McMaster University. The exposed canyon walls reveal 2 million years of geological history, and ancient sediments have preserved the stone artifacts remarkably, as well as human and fauna remains. The concentration of stone tools and animal fossils, wild cattle, pigs, hippos, pandas, lions, hyenas, primates, reptiles, birds, at the Elwas Oldupa site are evidence that both humans and animal life centered around water sources. Of course, that is correct. I totally agree to that particular extent. That of course, human and animal life, of course, was centered at around water sources. And if those particular fossils or artifacts actually were aged or are actually dated back to 2.6 million years ago, then everything else that you are taught mostly with these particular books, for example, there are some individuals that believe that the world is just 2,000 years ago, which is very, very ignorant of anyone to think of the world being, of course, all humanity's existence on this particular planet being just 2,000 years. It will be utter, and I believe it would even stretch further than 2.6 million years ago, because if at all they were using those particular tools 2.6 million years ago, then it means you can push further. And we are an ancient, people in Africa. And we have been on the African continent, for millions and millions of years ago. I believe even over 2.6, like I said, it probably would be even perhaps, more than 5 million years ago. And now, of course, you can count back the generations, assuming perhaps some generations were taking about an average over 60 years or an average over 50 years, and then count back, to those kind of generations that were ahead of us. Nonetheless, I do believe, even as you're talking about the history of a human existence right here on this particular planet, it's also important to extrapolate and go forward and imagine how many more years we might be on this particular planet, because as it is right now, there has been the depletion of resources. For example, all those millions of years ago, we did have different circumstances. For example, there was forest cover, I believe, in some areas, and also the water was not as polluted and everything else. There wasn't, industrialization, of course, as we know it, brought a lot of pollution. And therefore, if you are looking at it from the perspective of that particular planet that they were living in, or that particular earth, or the particular environment that they were living in, was very, very so much different. Of course, there were the challenges of that particular time. But I'm not sure. I am really, really not sure whether from today humanity will still be existing, and as we know it, for another 2.6 million years from today. It's something worth pondering over. But of course, from archaeology, we understand that humanity has been existing in Tanzania, and of course in Africa, because I believe they were moving about. When the resources were depleted in one area, perhaps there might have been a dry season. I believe they were moving from that particular point and moving to another water going to another water point. And of course, that is a point made that human life and animal life, of course, was developed, was existing around a water. So that is why we also did find the discovery of the bones of that particular individual, that particular small boy. That were found in Lake Turkana. And of course, that is also something to ponder, and it's very, very much important to also get a little bit into this particular matter. Let me share with us briefly. I hope we will not get, let me just put a caveat on this particular one, so that you can also get to understand can also get to understand a little bit of these as well. Let me put a caveat here, or a disclaimer really, before I share this other video. So that you can get to learn a little bit more on the history. And like I said, I would like to appreciate everyone that has joined us on this particular episode. It's always a delight getting to share the information with you. And of course, you can get interactive with us on the platform. It doesn't have to give us some feedback. So I just want to share this disclaimer on the use of the content I'm just about to use. It's basically just for fair use and the purposes of making comments on the same, and for the purposes of research. And therefore, after that, I will just go directly into this other video and share with us what has been happening.
Today, we're going to talk about the Narikatomi boy skull. This was found in 1984 at Narikatomi in Kenya by Kamoya Kimu. Kamoya Kimu had worked with the Leakeys at Omo and other sites in Africa. At Narikatomi, the site was on the western shore of Lake Turkana in Kenya, not far from the border with Ethiopia and southern Sudan. The skull for Narikatomi boy was found together with an almost complete skeleton. It's one of the most complete skeletons of ancient hominins that have been found. The skeleton comprised 108 bones in total, and it was estimated that it was from a boy aged between 7 and 11 years old. The height of the individual was estimated also to be about 5'3" in height. So the Narikatomi boy, he was a child, probably male. The pelvis was quite narrow, but the remains were of a prepubescent child, so it's hard to tell. They think he probably was a boy, and the species was assigned as Homo ergaster originally, but there's controversy now whether Homo ergaster is just another form or an African form of Homo erectus. The size of the skull, the capacity of the skull was 880 cubic centimeters. Now, this is larger than some of the Homo erectus remains that have been found in Dmanisi in Georgia. The skull also had a large projecting jaw and sloping forehead and small cranium relative to modern humans. The skull also had large brow ridges. The teeth were relatively large, but again, not as large as the Dmanisi Homo erectus teeth that were discovered. When Narikatomi boy was first found, he was called Turkana boy. The skull itself may date to about 1.6 million years ago.
That is also according to the discovery of the boy skull, the child boy skull found in Kenya. And like you said, this was found near Lake Turkana, which is very, very close to the border with Ethiopia and South Sudan. But nonetheless, I do believe this is also, they're being dated back to about 1.6 million years ago. And like I said, I'm not a big proponent of the story of evolution, because you cannot say that we evolve and then get to a point, then we stop evolving, because now that would be another different question. Of course, when you're evolving, you have to become a better, you can only evolve forwards. You cannot evolve backwards. You can only evolve to become something better. But nonetheless, let me share a little bit more of this, and then we shall proceed.
The mandible of the skull showed signs of disease, and the skeleton, there was signs of a lumbar disc herniation, probably caused by an injury, which may have led to the death of Narikatomi boy. Homo ergaster existed from about 1.9 million years ago to about 1.4 million years ago. Their remains have been found in Tanzania, Ethiopia, Kenya, and South Africa, so all in Africa. Now, there's controversy over this, but it could be that Homo ergaster is just an African form of Homo erectus. When compared to other examples of Homo erectus found in Asia and up in Dmanisi in Georgia near Russia.
That is a little bit of I was sharing that particular story of the boy, and I just was highlighting about some of the discoveries that have been made. And I said earlier that earlier this particular year there have been the discovery that was made in Tanzania. And of course, what has been discovered in Tanzania is, some of the 2 million year old stone tools unearthed in Tanzania. And I was sharing with us a little bit earlier on the map of where you can find the Olduvai golds. And this is also the archaeological sites in Tanzania, place are known as Ngorongoro Conservation Area. But the other place, which is Olduvai Gorge, this is an area that has been declared as a World Heritage Site, the star you can see at the middle here. And this is where we're talking about the discovery of those 2 million year old stone tools that were discovered in this particular point. And I was saying that I believe even before the 2 million years old, where we did have the discovery of this particular, we still have the humanity, the existence of humanity on the continent of Africa. And I believe from Africa, that is where everyone, the humanity first began in Africa. If you might ask me, according to my own deductions, from what I have seen and from what I have gathered from researches, I believe that this did begin. And even before, some people talk about the earth, the existence of humanity being 2,000 years ago, and there was the making of heaven and Eden and the making of the Garden of Eden and things like that. But nonetheless, you'll be ignorant to think that the world is just 2,000 years ago, even 4,000 years ago, even 5,000 years ago. The world or the humanity, the existence of humanity on Earth goes way past that, probably somewhere even past the 2 million years ago that we're hearing about this existence of the fossil, the stone tools that were being used by these individuals. And of course, there has also been a discovery of the footsteps. I shared with us a little bit of a clip with the discovery of the footsteps. And Keith says, yes, those are hybrid humans, but African people don't have any of those traits. The African has always been a human. Yes. And of course, this discovery in Tanzania is about 2 million years ago, that the use of the stone items. It says that, it's talking about the discovery. These are 2 million years ago. And like I said, like also Kida keeps on telling it, we have been on this planet for so long. We are an Asian people, and we are the African. We have been here, especially on the continent of Africa, from where we moved, then later to Europe, and later to Asia, and later to all these different places. I believe perhaps the starting point, if not Kenya, or if not Tanzania, then the starting point perhaps would have been the DRC Congo. I believe strongly. Those are some of the places that perhaps they would have been the start, or if at all, of course, we are from off this planet. But I'm saying, if at all, we have to have a starting point, because you cannot have a starting point which is everywhere. If you have to have a starting point, that would be around Kenya, Tanzania, or even the DRC Congo. I do not rule out any other areas, but I'm saying those are some of the primary areas that you could find. Things going like that. And of course, there has been the study. It shows that the research reveals that the geological, sedimentary, and plant landscapes around Olduvai Gorge changed a lot and quickly. Yet humans kept coming back here to use local resources for over 200,000 years. They used a great diversity of habitats, from fan meanders, woodland mosaics, naturally burnt landscapes, lakeside palm groves, steppes. These habitats were regularly blanketed by ash, all reworked by mass flows associated with volcanic eruption. Yes, I do understand even those particular areas. Yes, we did have active volcanoes and other different dangers. And of course, the research says the occupation of varied and unstable environments, including after volcanic activity, is one of the earliest examples of adaptation to major ecological transformations, according to Bushozi, a researcher at Dar es Salaam University. And of course, here is an image. Stone tools from Ngorongoro Formation, Olduvai Gorge, Tanzania, quartzite, multipolar, and multifacial core, and among other different items that have been discovered to have been used by these people who are, of course, around that particular area. Let me show you a little bit more of this, and also I think I should also put a caveat. I should also put a disclaimer, copyright disclaimer on it. Which is that this material is being used for, is made for fair use for the purpose of commenting and the purposes of teachings and also research on the Black Hot Fire Network 54 corresponding show. Let me share this with us briefly as well, so you can learn a little bit more of this particular area.
My brother, my sister, love me today. If you could do a party, a bit with the
utafiti kila siku kwa sababu nyingi, lakini moja ni kwamba kadri teknolojia inavyoendelea kukua ndivyo vifaa vinavyozidi kuwatengenezea uwepesi. Kwa unaweza kukuta mtu alikuja hapa miaka 20 iliyopita lakini hakuwa na vifaa vya kutosha au teknolojia haikuwa kubwa sana. Leo hii akija anapata vitu vingi sana vizuri vipya. Ukisikia Olduvai Gorge unaweza kadhani ni sehemu moja, kumbe gorge ni manake ni hilo bonde, mfereji huo umetembea namna hiyo. Kwa hiyo ile fuvu la kwanza lilipatikana sehemu moja tu, lakini sites, yani maeneo yako mengi sana ambayo utafiti unafanyika kuweza kujua wapi na wapi vinapatikana vitu gani. Nimeambiwa bonde lina urefu wa kama kilomita 55, limekwenda chini kiasi.
He says the gorge is about 55 kilometers long, what we call the Olduvai Gorge, or right now the name has been changed to Olduvai. But it extends to about 55 kilometers, where all these particular remains, or all these particular items have been found, artifacts have been found. And he says, of course, with the new technology, there is also a better understanding of what was happening in those particular years, about 2 million years ago, or even maybe a little bit past 2 million years ago. Like you say, the humanity's existence on the planet, on Earth, especially in Africa, because that is our main area of focus, has been, for so many years ago.
Asi, njoo usogea huku, njoo nione hapa, umesikia sana bana. Hebu angalia hii. Ona hii unipata? Imeenda inakuja mpaka huku. This country bwana.
I believe this is somewhat close to the Rift Valley. Now, of course, there has been also many discoveries made on the Rift Valley. The Rift Valley extends, and of course, I even passes through Kenya in a place called Nakuru, and you will find it there. So many other discoveries are relating to the discovery of ancient fossils, and playing a very, very big role to towards archaeological studies in Africa. You saying African people, Keith, thank you so much. You saying African people have been here for over 2 billion years, and you also saying, listen, all these Asian artifacts have been hidden there in their museum forever to create their fake timelines of 6,000 years ago, and they showed up on this particular planet. Yes, they have actually. I believe Louis Leakey, one of the famous archaeologists, Louis Leakey, one of the most popular archaeologists also, has been out there trying to bring this particular confusion. Of course, even with Charles Darwin as well. Also brought a little bit more of the same to run around with that particular kind of confusion. But let me share with us briefly. The Asian footprints. The Asian footprints that were discovered in a place they are actually known as Laetoli footprints. And now, of course, these are a little bit more on the same. Once again, I want to share a caveat, a disclaimer on the information. I believe this is also relevant to the case of the discoveries in Tanzania and its archaeological contribution, to archaeology, or what we call, or what is called archaeology. Let me share this briefly, and then we shall get on to more matters.
Thousands of years ago, some of our prehistoric ancestors walked across a field in the modern nation of Tanzania and left footsteps that would last for millennia.
Just a second. Let me add on the volume. Seems like the volume is way too low. Okay.
Now they're part of the largest fossil footprint site ever found on the African continent. Footprints we make on a sandy beach can be washed away in minutes. But these, made in volcanic ash, have survived for thousands of years. Dr. Kevin Atala with Chatham University is working the site near the village of Ungare Cerro.
When we found this site and found that it had more than 400 footprints preserved on it, we immediately knew that this was a pretty big deal.
Big deal, I'd say. I mean, what has to happen in order for these footprints to be preserved?
Well, these footprints, they were made in wet volcanic ash, and when that ash dried, it turned to something almost like concrete.
The site, discovered by a member of the Maasai people back in 2006, is roughly the size of a tennis court. It contains 408 prints, estimated to have been made between 6,000 and 19,000 years ago. A big question, who made these footprints?
We actually think that a group of them were made by 17 individuals who were traveling across this surface together. We estimate that within that group, there were probably 14 adult females, 2 adult males, and maybe 1 adolescent who were all traveling together.
Is there anything you can tell us about why they happen to be taking that stroll that day?
Where you tend to see this kind of group structure where you see many adult females walking together, traveling together, in the absence of very many males or children, is during foraging activities. And so when a group of adult women might go out to forage for food. And so that's been our guess.
While it's incredible that it survived it all, the concern now is that the discovery doesn't lead to its destruction.
We want to develop a plan with the Tanzanian government that we know can help to preserve the site for a very long time. It's been there for thousands of years. We would like for it to be there for thousands and thousands of more years, if that's...
That's a little bit of the discovery of those footsteps in Tanzania. Let me also share these briefly.
Researchers at Bournemouth University have uncovered lost tracks at the world's oldest human footprint site in Laetoli, Tanzania.
It is an amazing site. It is the world's oldest footprint site. It's dated to 3.66 million years old. It's in northern Tanzania. And the site is important because it preserves the footprints of about 3, possibly 4 hominin individuals who walked across an ashy layer, and it preserves their footprint traces.
The tracks have been hidden in plain sight since being discovered in the 1970s, but new technology developed by the university will enable the study of these footprints to discover more about the site and our ancient ancestors.
There are 2 trackways, 2 sort of sets of prints. One beautifully preserved, one individual walking in the ash layer, and the other one has 2 individuals superimposed one on top of the other. So somebody walked and then somebody followed, and maybe even a 4th person followed on that same track. So the study and the academic debate is all focused on the single trail, which is one individual. And they've ignored the composite tracks that are formed by these multiple individuals walking. And what we've been able to do for the first time is decouple the superimposed tracks of the second trackway and bring forward data that hasn't been available to contribute to the debate at the site.
That's amazing because it can tell us so much about the identity of the people who made the footprints. They are hominin ancestors. They're not humans like us. They belong to an ancestral species that we call Australopithecus afarensis.
Like I said earlier, I'm not a proponent of that particular evolution or talking about they were different or they belong to, they belong to a different class of a human or they were different people. But nonetheless, you're saying I know one thing for a fact, there were no white Asian people, there were no East Indian people, there were no Caucasians, only us. And of course, around Africa, like you said, I'm not specific, I'm not sure where, where the start was, but like I said, in Lake Turkana, Kenya, near the border with Ethiopia and near the border with South Sudan, and also the Old Dubai Golds near, in Tanzania, near the border with Kenya, and also, of course, lower Tanzania, near, where we do have the DRC. I believe those are some of the places, really to look out for when you're looking out for answers and using all that technology that can be found in terms of getting to understand more about all these. Sorry about that. Let me share one more video before we get to finish up, to wind up on those discoveries that have been made and the contribution of Tanzania when it comes to ancient or the contribution of Tanzania when it comes to archaeology. There is also a copyright disclaimer with for the fair use of this content, and of course a little bit more on the same in regards to the discoveries in this particular place.
In northwest Tanzania is Layatoli, a site of great significance in science's attempt to unravel the mystery of human evolution. Several million years ago, a nearby volcano began belching clouds of ash, which settled in layers in the surrounding savanna. The animals that lived in the area left their tracks in the moist ash after a light rainfall. But they were not alone. 3 hominids, our early human ancestors, walked by, leaving their footprints as
that's the same narrative. So I just let it go, talking about the 3 early human beings. Anyhow, of course, we have been in existence for a very, very long time, and of course, that also beckons the question of how long has the world been? How long has when was the formation of the planet Earth? There is also that particular question: when did Earth form? Of course. Of course, what I do get to see from the question, when was Earth formed, or the formation of Earth, the planet Earth. Of course, that takes us way back to 4.5 billion, according to NASA. According to NASA, which has been provided by the solar-system.nasa.gov. It says when the solar system settled into its current layout about 4.5 billion years ago, Earth formed when gravity pulled swirling gas and dust in to become the 3rd planet from the Sun. Like its fellow terrestrial planets, Earth has a central core, a rocky mantle, and a solid crust. Yes, this is the existence of, or the formation of Earth, according to NASA. Let's say that it's 4.5 billion years ago. And then you have to, back on the question, how long has humanity been existing on the face of the Earth? It could be also billions. It could be also billions of years. But if you ask me from today whether I see the Earth existing as it is right now for another 4.5 billion years, I am not really certain about the answer for that particular one. And even with humanity's existence, do I foresee humanity existing for another billion years? I am not really quite certain, because there has been a lot of greed. There has been a lot of things happening, especially human-made calamities. There has been so many human-made calamities, and all of these calamities, of course, lead us to one particular answer: there might not be the existence of humanity on Earth for another billion years. According to NASA, they are saying the Earth was formed about 4.5 billion years ago, when the Earth, all the Sun really settled, or when the solar system settled into its current layout. And that's a long time. But you see us existing for another 4.5 billion. That is a question for you. We were discussing earlier on about the discovery of human, not human fossils, but really iron tools used by humans. Iron tools used by that were unearthed in Tanzania, the old Dubai gods. And we said these also predate. These also are about 2 million year old stone tools in this particular place. I still do not understand how one particular area, the old Dubai gods, can have so much resources and so much items in terms of all these things being discovered, in terms of archaeological contributions. I am still not sure how. Of course, it's not by coincidence that we are hearing about this particular place having all these tools, or having all these art fossils. But nonetheless, there was also a little bit something different, which is the discovery of helium, and this is also in Tanzania. I won't share with us briefly, and then we shall get close to the end of this particular broadcast. Thank you so much, Bombi Dan, for joining us on the show. We trust that everything is well for you and your family.
Both scientists and local residents in Tanzania have hailed the recent discovery of helium in the country. Despite recent shortages, researchers have found a reserve in southern Tanzania that could fill more than 1 million medical MRIs kernels. Helium is a rare gas used in medical kernels, scientific.
Your European education, your European mindset always betrays you. You always keep saying, I don't understand. How can we still stay here forever? And I don't think we got a billion years because of calamities. There are no calamities on the planet but white people fucking the planet up and Asians. They are hybrid people. They are dying out. They were never supposed to be created. Those people you see walking there are hybrids. The African has been here. Proven already. That's why it's time. They got to keep confusion up over 2.5 billion years ago. I mean human beings, not no hybrids, because the human's older than the hybrid. Isn't that funny? They don't want to tell you that. They know that. The African human is older than a fucking hybrid. So that means Africans encompassing hybrids. But they're going to keep the confusion up to keep their lies. That also go with their goopy lies on religion. Because they tell you, oh, civilization started 6,000 years ago because of that goopy Bible and that goopy Quran. Those are lies. So they tell you even the hybrids go back 2 billion years ago, or I mean million years ago. So you mean tell me everybody's walking around here like a fucking monkey for 1 million years, then they became a human being 6,000-7,000 years ago? Are you insane? It's all lies. You can talk about the calamity. Calamity is nothing. The human beings, the African is eternal. That's what you don't understand, Spike. The African is eternal. Never going to blow up the planet, destroy the planet. No calamity is going to wipe him out. That's why the all is getting rid of these other people. I told you I was going to check the birth rate. You keep talking calamities. Your mind, you got to learn to start looking at things from an African-centered mind. Pull up the birth rates in Europe for me, Spike. What are the birth rates in Europe? Come at everything with an African-centered mind, Spike.
The birth rate in Europe, this is as February 2020, the population of European Union is about 445 million people. This is yeah.
Say what are the future demographics of Europe? They're dying. And then how much you go future demographics of Asia? So these people will not be here on the planet to destroy the planet, Spike. The planet, the all, which you can't see, which is quietly, right? The all, which is God, the real God, the all is getting rid of these people. The African fucked up creating them. I'll say that. But the all is saying, the all is saying they gotta go.
I'm saying it's on a decline. It's on a decline. From what I see is that, for example, it says between 1997 and 2017, the fatality rate for women in Europe fell from 2.6 babies to 1.6. In Greece, the fatality dropped from 1.3 births in 2017 to yeah.
And it's going to continue to decline, Spike. So that's the all. That's the God, the real all. Not making no big stick, not striking them down with fire and brimstone, all that goofy Quranian and Bible bullshit. The all is just saying you're not going to be able to recreate. And then hopefully tell the Africans, you do not sleep with these people and make hybrids either. That's the all. So you can also go say, what are the Asians' birth rates? Go to the Asia. Say, go to the demographics of the Asian birth rate. You'll see that's the all wiping these people off the planet. God just quietly behind the scenes say, you know what? You're not going to be able to create no babies. You're not going to be able to reproduce yourself. So there's not going to be a bunch of calamities on the planet because they're not going to exist. And so as an African wakes up, go ahead, Spike.
Are you saying Bill Gates is not going to live long enough to cover up the sun with I don't know the dust that he was talking about?
That's what they're trying to do, but no, that's That's what they're trying to do. Look, exactly. So he said, why would you be trying to cover up the sun that the all creates to give life to the earth? That's why the sun exists. The sun is a battery for the earth. So why would you do that? Because you're unnatural to the earth. You didn't evolve here. There's no evolution. If you come everything from African mindset, you know the European is lying. Everything he does is about his power. Why do you got Europeans teaching you about Africa anyway? Because the Africans fallen so far. You got all these Europeans. These footsteps mean this. How the fuck you know what the footsteps meant? You weren't even in existence. It is not even you. The African to listen to these Europeans telling me no kind of crazy shit. No, they need to have somebody African teaching you, even if they got it wrong. They couldn't get it no more wrong than a European who wasn't even around. Well, we believe these footprints were 4 women, 2 men, and 3 adolescents walking to gather food. Well, why would they gather food? Because back then the African was damn a motherfucking brilliant genius. He wasn't gathering no goddamn food. Back then the African, depending on what cycle of time he was in, African could just snap his fingers and be on the other side of the damn planet. Depending on what time part it was, African could fly still. Go ahead, Spike.
I'm saying according to Google, according to all these other different platforms that are out there, when you put how long the human has existed, they're talking about just 2 million years ago, which is crazy because the artifacts also predate that. You know, this is what they were actually putting out on not just 2 million years ago.
They got artifacts that they don't even show, Spike. That's the thing they're trying to make everything go with their fake evolutionary thing. They're not going to put out the artifacts that they found go back 500 million ago, 700 million ago of real human beings, not hybrid humans. And so, and you ask, who are these humans? Oh, it's the African. The whole thing is to deny African superiority on the planet. It wasn't Asian people, they didn't exist. It wasn't Caucasian people, they didn't exist. Wasn't East Indian people, they didn't exist.
They also turned up the other day.
It's only the African that existed on the planet. And you had an African that some hybrid teach you about who was here. Well, these Africans walked across the plain. Listen, shut up. I don't want to hear nothing from no hybrid human. Get up out of here. Don't try to tell me nothing about no history of Africa. You didn't even exist. So don't try to tell me. And then we always got to go. I always tell people, go DNA. Go DNA. The African has nine melanated centers, 9 strands of DNA code, 9. Everybody else has 6. Right up from a chimp who has what, 5. African has 9, so you can't evolve backwards again. This is a fact. The African has 9 strands of DNA code. That means he's the most superior genetics on the planet, overwhelmingly. So, why do the East Indian only have 6? The European only, well, ain't no such thing as European, we call them Caucasian, whatever, only has 6. The Asians only have 6. Because they're made directly from because the African, with his dumb ass, made these other people from chimpanzees. That's why. He had 5 genetic codes from the chimp and then took one of his genetic codes to start creating human beings. That's why they have 6. No such thing as evolving backwards. You can't go from 9 to 6. That's evolving backwards. So it wouldn't be evolution then. So everything, they know all this. Why do they say, what? They know all this, Spice. They did the genome. They know. Why don't they put that in any of the things? Because it destroys the lie that they want to tell. They know they did our genomes, Spice, back in the 80s. They know that African people have 9 strands of genetic code, and all other people have 6. So they say, oh, fuck that. We're not talking about none of that shit.
That is why they have been pushing everything else back so that it can actually fit on their schedule.
Yeah,
It's
got to fit the fake evolutionary. The evolution is a lie. It's got to fit the fake evolutionary code that, you know, it was the African and then everybody's created, and the white man is the most superior because he's the last of evolution. And he's the weakest genetics. Well, how the fuck can you evolve from the African and you be weak? That don't make no damn sense. Because it's a lie. And then civilization started 6,000 years ago. You out your fucking mind. These other people showed up on the planet 6,000 years ago, but civilization didn't start no 6,000 years ago. You crazy? So you mean tell me the African, and this is another thing they don't like to say, which is, you know, because they want to steal Kemet, but they can't. Those are black people. Okay? So you mean tell me the African, who was a goddamn monkey, right? The African's a monkey, and all of a sudden he became a human being 6,000 years ago and started building all that shit in Kemet? They knew I started building all that shit in Kemet around the planet? He was a dumbass monkey. Now he's a brilliant mathematician and architect that you can't build none of that shit today. Let's make that clear. They do not know how to build none of that shit today. That's a fact. So the African monkey became a human being and became a great mathematician and an architect overnight, and now and was just building all kind of monolithic sites all over the planet, huh? Like that's his story. That's the
It's also the same monkey that built Angkor Wat. It's also the same monkey that also built Angkor Wat.
Do this for me, Spike. Do this for me, Spike. You also got great, and they don't go back 1,000 years. They don't like to talk about it. Say images. Put in Google images of underground cities of the world. Images of underground cities of the world. You'll start seeing underground caverns, underground cities that the African built millions of fucking years ago. See, that the things that they find doesn't touch, the history is a lie. And that's why all this archaeology is never talked about. Oh, we don't want to talk about it. Yeah, all these cities that the African built underneath the ground. You know, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Why is this never taught to people? These cities are underground, are everywhere, on every continent. Before the Europeans showed up, the Asian, East Indians. So they show them underground. So they show the images of them being underground. You got underground cities. You should have images. Just go to images.
Let me see the images.
Not the videos. Not the videos.
Oh, the images.
The images. It's just
these are the images. These are the images of the underground city of the world. These are the images that are popping up. Some of these, for example, this is one. I believe there's also another one, buried cities underground. I also see another one here. 14 most incredible underground cities.
Let me see, because they're getting slick. Maybe I say underground caves. Yeah, okay, they're going. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's one. Yeah, right there. Show that. So that goes back thousands and thousands. So the technology spikes to build these cities. You don't even got today. You couldn't build none of that shit. As a caveman didn't build that, Spike. A monkey man did not build that. Okay? A monkey man did not build that.
You're busting their bubble. They want to actually, bask in the glory of, them developing everything. And now you're busting their bubble. That is why they'll not let even this channel stay up for another day.
because it's a lie. It's a lie. They put it's for their control. They put a well-crafted lie together. Yeah. These things exist all over the planet. The African was building cities underneath the ground. Well-constructed cities everywhere. Over here in America, in the Grand Canyon, to Turkey, to Asia. It go back hundreds of thousands of years ago. There wasn't no fucking hybrid monkey man building none of that shit.
The aliens
Go ahead, like what?
They say the aliens did it. That is
The aliens
aliens.
built the. Well, if the aliens built the aliens are Africans, then they still black people there. God damn it! The aliens built they were black. Don't make any damn. They're still Africans. I don't care if the aliens, because we know Africans come from off planet. So they still were Africans. The aliens are the goddamn. That's nothing to hate. The aliens are the goddamn Africans. I already told you, and that's a fact. I already told you when I'm looking at the Olmec heads are what they call the Anunnaki. I said, those are the Anunnaki. Those are, one of those motherfuckers is Enlil. One of those heads we see of the Olmecs is that Jehovah Enlil character who comes from off planet. Yes, the African comes from space. It's all you got in space are fucking Africans everywhere. They're not just on this planet. You got an endless universe with numerous dimensions. That's a fact. Africans are all over the goddamn solar system, all over the goddamn universe. They're everywhere. Not just on this planet. They're Africans everywhere. Phenotype, that's the phenotype of the all.
Wherever you find life, life on any other kind of an universe, those are Africans as well.
It's gonna be an African people. Yeah, those are and the fact white people know, NASA and them all know all this shit. African people. They're African people. Like I showed you, some white lady was able to channel. Funny, but she channeled some other planet, some other alien, and she was drawing the being like the regular African. She like, oh, I didn't think it looked like this. Remember? I don't know if you remember that video. It was a white girl, and she was channeling an alien from another planet, and she was drawing. She said she told him his name, and she drew it. It was an African man. He smiled. He said the Africans messed up on she virtually telling that the Africans fucked up by creating her ass on that planet. Go ahead.
Probably knows that the Caucasians will come after her soon after she demonstrates or she
I'm gonna find that
illustrates.
video again. I'm gonna find that video for the day, see if I can find it and share it. See if I can find it and have you play it again. And she drew it. She said, "Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it again." I forgot the little girl's name. Or she was chasing. He keeps coming clear in my mind, and his name is. He's an African. He smiles big. Says Africans, they smile big. They children of the sun, and we hear the Africans' cries from the earth, and we don't like it. It's sad. Africans are the rulers of the universe. Our girl's looking all crazy. So this is what I'm getting. He's saying the Africans, they call them Africans here on the planet. They're not. They're rulers of the universe.
I guess
they're everywhere. Go ahead.
I guess she was looking crazy. You remember a video I shared of that crazy Caucasian was actually saying we should eat the babies, and then she was asked, "You said what?" Yes. Then she repeated, "Yes, we should eat the babies." You remember that video? And there was a video shared sometimes back of a crazy. I think she was crazy. She was nuts. Some Caucasian talking about we should eat the babies, and she was asked to repeat again, and she said, "Yes, I said we should eat the babies," and she was very, very proud of herself. I think the same one you're talking about, illustrating the image of the African being the alien. Was also
you should do what with the baby? You should do what with a baby? Eat it?
There was a video I shared sometimes back on the channel. Some crazy white woman saying we should eat the babies. Eat the babies. Yes. Then she was asked, "What did you say?" "Yes, eat the babies." She was crazy. I don't know.
I don't remember that. I don't know what context that was in. What was it about? Why was she talking about eating babies?
That was when we were talking about the adrenochrome. Sometimes back when we were talking about the adrenochrome.
Okay, that was okay. Yeah, that had nothing to do with the one I'm talking about. No, that's a different girl. Different lady. Yeah, so you're talking about
the pedophilia and them taking up.
This is a different lady talking about letting you know about your
the rulers.
Yeah, that you're rulers of the galaxy. she was just channeling. I was laughing because when it was coming through, she was all messed up. That Africans smile big. They need to know they're rulers of the universe. She was just, that's everything she was just getting in. The rulers of the universe. They've been treated bad on that planet. They're not supposed to be. The African
We all know.
He said their thing from the all is to smile, to bring music and joy to the universe. They bring joy back to God. The African brings joy back to God when they sing and smile. I was laughing. She was
and I would love to see that particular one. Nonetheless, we almost are coming close to the end of the show, and
yeah, I'll find it. It's a list. It brings love, joy back to the earth, and
how old was she?
Wants them to,
how old?
She probably was in her mid-20s. Probably was in her mid-20s because she probably in her mid-20s, and so because she was channeling. Everybody can do. Black people need to start doing that, channeling other entities. And she was channeling entity, and she was drawing them as she was shooting. She was like, "Oh my God, he's black." Right? He's like the regular African. His name is Reggie. He lives on another planet. He says Africans smile big. They bring joy to God when they sing their songs. And he said, we're supposed to love the African and not treat them bad. They are the rulers of the universe.
No one loves the African. They're trying to take us off the planet. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Bobby Dunn, I think. Yeah. Bobby Dunn says, we're going to Speaks and Keith. We're going to you too. We trust that you are doing well.
Yeah, what's going on, Muffy Danford? Hopefully everything's good with you over in Ethiopia, brother. You know, stay out of harm's way. You know, stay out of tribal wars and shit. A lot of Africans are still crazy, so they're waiting for people going to crazy tribal differences.
I hope that doesn't get Bombi down for caught up in the same. Nonetheless, I'll be waiting up, and I want to appreciate everyone for joining us.
That's what's going on in damn Uganda.
It's crazy. Uganda, I hope Maria is safe. I hope she'll be able to get back once the internet is on. But nonetheless,
back up. Yeah, he took down the internet and he got strife. But I think the election is today, right, Spikes? I think it's today.
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I think the election is going on date. You know, Museveni's going to steal it and win it. You know, citing an election is nothing but a scam. No one's going to have the same leader for 34 years. It's a scam. It's a joke. And then sadly enough, Bobby Wine is a tool of the West. Why he's promoting all kind of homosexuality, transgender. They're going to move him in what they're doing so cleverly. The European, because Museveni's close to death when he dies, they're making Bobby Wine's popularity so much because they know Ugandans are ignorant. It's like just like Maria said in the last show, just the ignorance. They just don't know they're going to be placed with the same person. That's what I know. Is to keep Africa ignorant. Educational systems in Africa do not benefit the African. His mindset is completely European. And so he said, yeah, this is going to replace him with Bobby Wine. He's going to bring in all kind of homosexual. He's talking about transgender and all kind of, that's not us. They do that in Kenya. I said, they don't do that in no damn Kenya, Maria. They try to bring it in Kenya. Kenya's more developed than Uganda. They try, and it's more cosmopolitan, but that's not the Kenyan culture either. What you talking about?
South Africa is the LGBTQ capital. South Africa is the LGBTQ capital, but nonetheless, I do believe in the South Africans themselves are not into it because they have a lot of.
They're not into it, but they got white people there. That's why they pass it in Botswana because you have white people and the black people in Botswana say, oh, hey, we don't agree with this shit.
They had to reverse it. Yeah, they had to reverse it and disagree with the decision by the High Court. I think that was the High Court that was trying to put them
because it was bought out by the Europeans. They were bought out, but the people didn't agree with that shit. The people like, hey man, what the hell are you talking about? We don't agree with none of this shit. That's because we're human beings. That's let you know these are animal traits. Black people do not that's how I told you people. Stop get out the tribalism. We're the same people everywhere. That's why black people are the most ones against it. No matter where you're at, Brazil, America, Africa, we're against this homosexual shit. It's the hybrid who always practice this wicked ass behavior. Africa's always been against this shit because it's anti-life. Can't screw another man in the ass, in the butt, and think that's normal. Or have another woman licking another woman's coochie. Think that's normal? Out of bounds of nature, it's out of bounds of the all. You got to have a man, a positive charge, the man, and a negative charge, the woman. Boom. That brings life, and that's how the universe actually works. Positive, well, feminine and masculine energy rules the whole universe. And the African used to know this, but since we go to sleep, we are connected to the rhythms of the universe. And I was listening to the Kabbalah saying the same thing. Africans, unless you learn how to rise above, we are connected. Everything rises, everything falls, even your intellect. I was like, motherfucker, there it is again. Our intellect falls. Everything has rhythm. Everything goes, tide comes in, tide goes out. The universe is rhythmic. So Africans get real smart, Africans get real stupid. There's a rise and falling, and then there's a rebirth. Africans starting to get smart again. It's a rebirthing process. That's how the universe works. And you must have a negative and a positive spark to bring life to a planet. That's why the poles have what? And on the planet, there's a negative and a positive. This planet is negative and positive. It has a male side and a feminine side. That's how the universe works. So you can't have two positives. It repels each other. Two negatives, it repels. And that's what they're trying to do to you. That's normal. Because that's their animalistic nature. Okay, this is normal behavior. It's not. It's what the Africans are opposed to. Well, if you don't do this, we're not going to give you any money. If you don't do this, we're going to keep. Motherfucker, the African is the richest place on the planet. All you got to do is fight. Get off his goddamn knees and fight. Say, we're not going to accept you devaluing our currency, and we're not going to accept no more of your funny money. All Africans do say, well, listen, we're going to fight. We're going to unite and fight. We're going to build manufacturing here. Everything we pull out the ground, we're going to manufacture here. Everybody's going to want to go to war, but so what? We got the numbers. Africa has the numbers to go to war with anybody on the planet. Anybody. Susie African knows that.
The technology.
Susie African knows that. I'll go ahead, Spike.
The technology and the military might is the dot that is lacking, because you have to connect all the dots. You know, look at the military, the technology, and the military might that is
but you got to connect the dots, and you got to get the mindset back. You got to bring a warrior mindset, because you got to learn that you're not inferior. African believes he's inferior to the Asians, to the Caucasians. How the fuck are you going to be inferior, stupid? You're the first people here. You are the original. You can't be inferior when you're the original, but you don't know that. And the African puppets that were left behind have not even taught none of this to their people. When that was like when we were talking about with Mumphrey Danford yesterday, when you lost fight, that was the normal way of teaching in the last great empire of Songhai in Western Africa. You couldn't tell no African he was less than no Caucasian or no fucking Asian, when that was the damn pinnacle of Western and world civilization. How the fuck are you gonna tell those Africans that they're less than the European? The European is impoverished, sitting in a fucking mud hut in Europe. You couldn't.
It was impossible for you to fake that particular kind of narrative to anyone and build them without.
You couldn't do that kind of narrative. Hell, they're the richest people on the planet. They were the most, not just the richest, they were the smartest. That's where your colleges were at. You couldn't tell the African he was lesser than the European. Smack you in your motherfucking mouth. What are you talking about? I mean, lesser than these people. But now, 700 years later, through conquest and being conquered and dumbed down, you're asking the African today, even in that part of the world, Is the European better than you? Yes, he's better than me. He's my master. You're like, motherfucker.
That is a backward kind of a thinking that has, resorted us not to moving forward or developing in any kind of a way, because at the end of the day,
So the African gets his confidence back.
Yeah.
The African gets his confidence back. That's why I'm so proud of John Magufuli. Hopefully he's putting enough education together to realize that the African is not, because it made me sad when brother go black to Africa asked those kids on the beach of Dar es Salaam, who's better, the white man or the black man? And all those little kids said, the white man. He's like, no, hell no. I'm glad he told them, no, you're the first people. The white people ain't better than you. This is a lie. These are lies that they've told you. But they see the white people owning everything, even in Africa, right? So they believe white people are better than them. That narrative is dangerous. That's why the people, why when I'm in Tanzania, I'll be knocking out East Indians. Oh my God, he's beating up the better people than us. Knocking these motherfuckers out. All lost Spikes. I'm gonna end this. This is a Spike show. Say much love to everybody. I'm gonna end it. Love to Mumpy Damper. I'm gonna go and end it. Peace, y'all. Come back later on with another show. Peace, everybody.